Hey guys, welcome to Very Terrible to the Bugs Live featuring the new Forretress EX with our Wurmple from Lost Origin that has an attack that allows you to search for any number of Wurmple, Cascoon, Silcoon, Beautifly, and Dustox from your deck and put it into your hand. We get to basically add 16 extra cards, up to 16 or even more cards into our hand, basically doing 160 more damage with hand kinesis on our next turn with Indeedee. So we are required to attach 3 grass energy to satisfy the attack cost though, and that's why Forretress fits into this deck so well. We just need to evolve our Forretress and get Wurmple into the active for us to attack in a single turn. With 5 energy, we get to attach any 5 basic grass energy from the deck onto our Pokemon in any way we like. Using exploding energy, this ability for us to charge up to attack within a single turn, get 16 extra cards into our hand for us to play our hand kinesis on the next turn. So we actually get to, if we bench our Indeedee, we get to satisfy the attack cost for both the Wurmple and our next Indeedee. We also have Thorton just in case they do a boss to knock out the Indeedee. We get to basically Thorton out the Wurmple into an Indeedee for us to play hand kinesis using this basic Pokemon. We have also Milotic obviously to help us keep our hand against Ayano or Judge. We get to deny our opponent from playing those supporters to screw up our hand. We also have our evolution summons, our Capturing Aroma, Mesagoza, Ultra Ball, Jacq, and a lot of ways to get our evolutions, 𝓑𝓼 as well, to help us evolve as fast as possible for us to play our exploding energy and also keep our hand with Deal Guard protecting us against Ayano. We also are playing our regular supporter cards for a Indeedee deck, our Schoolgirl, Schoolboy, Avery, Wallace, and Falkner, helping us draw as much cards as we can into our hand for us to do as much damage as possible with hand kinesis. Finally, we have 1 Rescue Carrier to revive our Indeedee, 1 Artazon to bench our basics with 3 double turbo, helping us attack every single turn non-stop. So that's all for the deck list. Now let's go for some gameplay and see how well this deck works. Okay, let's go for our first game versus some kind of a weakness box. They got a lot of different types of Pokemons. They have fire type, water, and also lightning. I think they're trying to counter the meta because they're playing Raikou with Arcanine, which is a little bit unusual, but oh well. So we got Wurmple in the active, Feebas and Pineco. That's like a really good start though. We have 2 copies of Jacq, and that's why we're getting it so early. 1 copy of each of the other supporters. Thorton is kind of annoying though because it loves to show up early. If you get bossed, if they do a boss on your Indeedee after you played your exploding energy, because you are actually allowed to charge up not just the Wurmple but also your Indeedee, searching the deck for 5 grass energy, you get to charge up for your next attacker, preparing your Indeedee to do hand kinesis on the next turn if they don't knock it out with a boss. If they do a boss on your Indeedee on the bench with energies attached, you actually get to play Thorton to transform your Wurmple into the Indeedee from the discard pile, basically doing hand kinesis with the Wurmple on the last turn. Anyways, let's get Forretress and Milotic. We already have it though, so let's just get both the Forretress, adding an extra card into our hand. And we don't actually have the Indeedee though. We don't have it in play, so we're just going to attach it onto the Feebas. If they knock out the Wurmple, we at least get to transform the Feebas into Indeedee later on, at some point in the game. So we're gonna draw a lot of cards right now. We're gonna search for up to 16, well, up to 17 cards from the deck, because we have 4 Wurmples, 4 Silcoon and Cascoon, only 3 copies of each Beautifly and Dustox, and that actually amounts to 18 copies total. That means if we have that Wurmple in play and possibly 1 in the prize are already in our hand, we basically get to dig for 16 extra cards and put it into our hand. So up to 17, my bad, only up to 17, which is an additional 170 damage on your next turn. If you get Schoolgirl, Schoolboy, Falkner, or any other supporter cards early, you can actually draw a lot more cards, doing 200 plus damage on your next turn after exploding and sacrificing 2 prize with the Wurmple. So we're basically down to 3 prize remaining on our opponent's end. We're giving them 3 prize before we do our first hand kinesis. That could be a really bad deal, but we are adding so much more damage though. So if we can knock out our first V or EX on our next turn, basically doing our first drawing our first 2 prize before they get their 4th prize, that actually means we got 3 strikes before they win the game. If we can, draw all 6 prizes within 3 hits of our Indeedee's hand kinesis, we could actually win by drawing all 6 prizes before they get their last prize, just because we are doing a full-on 1 prize deck except for Forretress. Obviously don't evolve your second EX because they can quite easily do a boss and knock it out. If you have your second Forretress EX in your hand, just don't evolve it, right? Unless if you want to attack with it, because you could actually choose to attack with Forretress as well. Important to note that Forretress is actually very tanky because you could choose to attack reducing damage done to it with this attack. You are taking 30 less damage on your next turn if you use the attack with Forretress, and that means you are tanking, giving yourself an extra turn to basically get extra damage in the game as well before you actually play its ability to dig for more cards into your hand. So that could be an interesting strategy as well. Getting some damage in the game before you play your 𝓑𝓾𝓰'𝓼 Congregation, and then that actually helps you secure enough damage for your first knockout before you dig for more cards into your hand with your Schoolgirl, Schoolboy, Avery, Falkner, Wallace, and other cards, other draw supports like we don't actually have Worker for this deck, but you could think about adding that as well. Or any other, draw supports. There's no Bug Catcher anymore, is there? Bug Catcher is rotated, I think. Or is it? Wasn't it from Fusion Strike? I'm not sure. I don't see Bug Catcher though in the filter when I search for it. So anyways, here comes the Raikou, and unfortunately we're not able to knock it out, I don't think. Yet. We do have 1 extra Defiance Band in the deck now. So after the upgrade, I decided to add in 1 Defiance Band just because it works so well with Forretress. And you get extra 30 if you have more prize cards remaining than your opponent. And that allows Indeedee to do a basic V knockout or basic EX knockout a lot easier after doing your 𝓑𝓼 Congregation. So here comes their first Raikou. Are they able to get enough energies though? So they have Excalibur to help them satisfy the attack cost for any Pokemon. I think Arcanine requires 3 fire though, so they're basically just relying on the Growlithe to search the deck for Arcanine to attack. It's quite crazy though, isn't it? Because if they don't get Growlithe on the first turn, they can't actually use the Stoke. So they have 3 different type of Pokemon. They have Water, Fire, and Lightning. It's basically like a tri-attack sort of deck, because it's like Fire, Ice, Lightning for tri-attack. And they don't have Dojo though. There's going to be a new Dojo for the next set. For an upcoming set. I'm not sure when it's going to get released. It's kind of like a draw support, and it does a lot of damage. It does 30x damage for each damage counter on itself. And every single turn, you get to use its ability to basically place 1 damage counter on itself, help while drawing an extra card into your hand. So it's a very interesting card. It is a stage 1 though, so I'm not sure if it's that viable for standard. But who knows, there could be some hidden combo, certain cards that work really well with that Dojo, so never underestimate like special combos. You don't know how important that is for this game. Okay, we have limited time now. I don't think we're going to do anything. We're just going to pause the turn, waiting for enough cards for us to do a knockout with Indeedee. Because if we retreat right now, we don't even have enough cards in our hand to do the knockout. Might as well just pause the turn and wait until we got our supporter. Unfortunately, for some reason, we're not getting any supporter cards from the deck. We do have a lot though. We have Avery, Falkner. I don't think we have a stadium card in play. That's our opponent's stadium card, so we can't actually draw extra cards into our hand. If we don't have a stadium in play, it needs to be our stadium for Falkner to give you 2 extra bonus cards. I really like Falkner though, because we have 3 Mesagoza and 1 Artazon, so I don't think we should be that worried. We got only 1 Schoolgirl now. 1 Schoolgirl, 1 Schoolboy, 1 Avery, Wallace, and 1 Falkner. We have an Arven as well to help us dig for the Defiance Band, for us to do extra damage. So for this game though, we don't have the Defiance Band, and that's the reason why we're not getting it. We have 𝓑𝓼 instead of Arven as well. So it's a little bit of a different list. We don't have the Rare Candy. So eventually I decided to add Rare Candy just because one of the games that I added for this video, we actually managed to play Beautifly or Dustox. You can actually choose to evolve your Wurmple after playing the 𝓑𝓾𝓰'𝓼 congregation. If your opponent doesn't knock out your Wurmple, you can quite easily just evolve it into Dustox or Beautifly if they do a boss, and then play Nadir Powder or use Beautifly to draw cards while attacking with your Forretress. So Beautifly could be a draw support while you do damage with Forretress and tank with it as well until you get your Indeedee to basically do some damage with your hand kinesis as well. Obviously, if you play Beautifly though, the ability doesn't actually fit into this deck that well, just because you are only drawing cards until you have 6 cards in your hand. If we are playing Indeedee, we want to be drawing more and more cards into our hand, eventually helping us do enough damage for the knockout. So it doesn't really make sense for us to play Beautifly, but for one of the games later, you'll see that we had no choice but to play it, just because it's going to help us if we do some damage early before actually using our hand kinesis. Because we don't really have many supporter cards for this deck, we may be forced to play Beautifly to get enough cards into our hand first before actually, doing something else. It's obviously better to play your Wurmple by simply evolving your Forretress EX and also Milotic on the second turn, getting enough energy for you to play 𝓑𝓰'𝓼 congregation, pulling out 16 Pokemons from the deck, essentially increasing the chance of you top decking a supporter card on your next turn. So that's always the best strategy to go for, but in the event of you getting more energies into your hand early, you may have like Pineco and Aroma for the Forretress EX early. It may be better for you to attack with the EX, for you to wait until you get enough cards into your hand to play the Wurmple, and that actually secures you extra damage in the game before you actually play Exploding Energy, just because you are wasting 2 price for it. So if we're knocking it out, might as well use it to attack first, right? If we can. Only if we can. Only if we have the grass energy in our hand. Just because sometimes we may not get it. We only are playing 6 copies of energy and no energy search as well. So it may not always be possible for us to attack with our EX. But, that's just the way this deck goes. It's not a perfect deck. It's just a fun meme deck. It's not meant to be powerful, right? It's just meant to make Wurmple shine on standard in some way, to some level. Because 𝓑𝓰'𝓼 congregation is a fun attack that nobody ever uses, that no one ever thought could work in standard, but it's not bad. I wouldn't say it's terrible, I would just say it's kind of fun to play, just because we have that one Rare Candy as well for us to do either Nadir Powder or to draw cards with Beautifly. You can choose whichever stage 2 to evolve into. You can confuse them as well with our Dustox. So it could be a fun deck that you can toy with. If you get the Wurmple and double turbo for you to play the Dustox late game, it could actually help out. Anyways, let's just get back to the game. So now they have the Dewgong ready to do the knockout on our Indeedee. We should have benched something. We should have benched another Indeedee. We got the Ultra Ball on the last turn. I'm not sure why we didn't do that. So they are forcing us to retreat with our Milotic. Apparently they don't have the water energy. They just need 1 energy though for them to do the knockout against the Indeedee. If we retreat with the double turbo, we are wasting the energy, but I don't see any other way out from this because we have no switch cards for this deck. So we have no escape rope, no switch, nothing of the sort. We should possibly play a Schoolgirl Girl or something like that. I don't know. I don't see much value for that. Because we may have the Indeedee in our hand. Because we're drawing so many cards. If we have our second or third Indeedee in our hand, Schoolgirl Girl is not going to do anything. It is a supporter card as well. If you play Schoolgirl Girl, you can't draw any other cards. So I kind of want to play like my Schoolgirl, Avery, Wallace, to draw cards every single turn while I can, whenever I can play a supporter. I want to be playing that supporter instead of cards like Thorton. Thorton actually helps you attack though, so it's not bad. It's excusable, right, for us to play Thorton, but Schoolgirl Girl, I don't think so. I'm not too sure. Kind of makes you think about it. So we actually drew out another Indeedee, and we benched it at the right time. Fortunately, we should definitely have benched our Indeedee earlier on the last turn with the Ultra Ball, but if we played it, we may have less cards in our hand for us to do the knockout on the Raikou right now. So I'm not sure. You never know what's going to happen. You never know what's the right move. Because the game is so unpredictable. It's a gamble. It's always a gamble. So here comes the knockout. We better be somehow getting the last double turbo into our hand. We have 1 prize remaining. They have 2 prize remaining. So if we get the double turbo on the next turn, we win the game. Are we going to somehow be able to dig for the double turbo? Because we have no supporter cards in our hand. We have no special energy. Not even a grass. We can't play Forretress' ability anymore because we would actually lose the game if we knock out another Pokemon. Another EX at that. Maybe we should play 4 copies of the double turbo. I don't know. Sadly, reversal doesn't work for basic Pokemon. Right? Maybe we should do like Golurk with reversal. Golurk is doing 30 extra damage. Golurk with double turbo and reversal actually works well, doesn't it? But we need the basic energy though. We need basic grass. Might as well just play Indeedee. Here we go. Are we gonna get it? Are we gonna get a double turbo? Fingers crossed. There goes the knockout. They just need 2 energies now. If they play a supporter, they're definitely gonna get the 2 energies on the next turn. This is the last shot. This is the last call. Are we gonna get the turbo? Oh my god. Okay, we got Schoolboy. Just at the right time. They have 1 prize remaining. So let's just remove as many cards as we can from the deck by playing our Ultra Balls. Digging for... digging out all of the Pokemon so that we actually get to draw out the double turbo with the Schoolboy. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Okay, we're just gonna play another Ultra Ball. Experience tells me that if you shuffle the deck twice, it never gives you the good stuff. So always shuffle the deck more than twice, just to be safe. So that's why we're playing Mesagoza right now, but unfortunately we got a Tails. So we did not get to shuffle the deck a 3rd time. But we're just gonna have to draw anyways, because we have no choice. Let's just hope for the best. There we go. And we got it. We got the last turbo for the last knockout. Winning the game with hand kinesis. And Forretress. Look at that. We wasted 2 prize with Forretress and Wurmple. 3 prize. That's a total of 3 prize lost early game. And we managed to counter back with hand kinesis doing big damage with Indeedee. Yeah. Worm power. So now we're gonna go for some silent gameplay and turn up the music for some good vibes. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Today we're featuring our Indeedee Wurmple combo with our Forretress EX to satisfy the attack cost, helping us search the deck for any 5 grass energy and attach it to our Pokemon in any way we like, helping us do creepy crawly congregation, digging our deck for as many copies of Wurmple, Silcoon, Cascoon, Dustox, and Beautifly and putting into our hand, basically adding 16 extra cards for us to do big damage with hand kinesis later on. We also have Milotic to keep our hand against, guarding against Ayano or Judge if our opponent tries to scrub our hand. We also have our supporter cards to draw, our Wallace, Avery, Schoolgirl, Schoolboy, and also Falkner with our Mesagoza and Artazon as stadiums for us to draw extra cards with Falkner and also to search for our Pokemons, helping us evolve fast. We have our Aroma, Ultra Ball, and also Arven to dig for the evolution as well, and also for our Defiance Band, helping us do 30 extra damage with our hand kinesis for the knockout. So that's all for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll see you next time. Have a great day and bye for all the people. Enjoy life.
Yeah. Yeah.